Welcome to Hotspot, Cricket World TV. I'm John Pennington and I'm joined by Chetan Narula. We're going to talk Asia Cup. Hello, Chetan.
Hi, John.
And it's fair to say it's been an exciting Asia Cup so far. We've seen Afghanistan produce an upset win to beat Bangladesh. Sri Lanka are in the final. They've beaten Afghanistan today. And of course, the big talking point, I suppose, Pakistan beating India by 1 wicket in a thriller. Chetan, just give us your thoughts on what has been an interesting tournament so far.
Well, first of all, I'm a huge fan of multi-team tournaments. Obviously, after the Champions Trophy, this one obviously catches the eye. I think this is only the third multi-team tournament we have in cricket left anymore, unless we go to Australia and play an overtly long CB series. But I think there is place for more multi-team tournaments in international cricket with international calendars just compressing up. Maybe we need tests, and if say two countries are going to a particular country to tour, or like India went to New Zealand and we had West Indies before that, so maybe they can play a 2 round instead of West Indies playing 3 ODIs and India playing 5 ODIs. You combine a tournament, play a tri-series. It sort of becomes a good summer for the host nation, as well as you play West Indies as well as New Zealand, so it becomes more fun. Having said that, that's obviously up to the ICC and or the BCCI, CSA, and ECB, as the case may be now. But moving on, yes, Asia Cup's been exciting. I mean, given the fact that the World T20 is also going to be there, it's given a sort of information about what sort of conditions can be expected. Obviously, the pitches will be hard and a little bit slow because a lot of cricket has been played on them. Then obviously there will be the dew factor, both at Mirpur and Fatehpur, and obviously Chittagong is also one of the places. So the dew factor is going to be there in the later games, obviously in the second innings in the ODI. So it's kind of an interesting mix that it's throwing up, and obviously a vociferous crowd as well. So quite an interesting mix the Asia Cup is throwing, and obviously quite exciting the way Afghanistan have played the cricket. Was lucky enough to watch them play the T20 World Cup in 2012 in Sri Lanka, but they were absolutely fabulous. I really like Shapur Zadran, the way he, the left armer with flowing hair, huge body, and just comes and running. Reminds me of Shoaib Akhtar in one sense, but yeah, Afghanistan, I really like them. Look forward to seeing them again in Dhaka. And India Pakistan, always, it was a cracking game. It is always a cracking game, isn't it?
It certainly was, and let's just talk a bit more about that game. I mean, India sort of lost early wickets, but then recovered. Ravi Jadeja played very well once again. Ambati Raju played his part, and Pakistan, good start. Mohammad Hafiz was playing well to sort of get the run chase back on track, and from 90 and 90 balls, then it needed 43 and 30. And it was one of those games where it was really in the balance right until the end, and then Shahid Afridi came in and does what ever so often he does, and really pulled the game back from nowhere for them.
But he doesn't do that too often nowadays. So, yeah. But always, I mean, India, Pakistan is always a different battle altogether. We'll come back to what Shahid Afridi did. Couple of pointers from India's point of view. I thought Virat Kohli was very impressive in this match with his captaincy. Not with the, I mean, obviously he's someone who's always made a lot of bowling changes, even in the IPL, and in that sense he's a little bit different from Dhoni. But I think where it really mattered was the fact that he played Amit Mishra as a third spinner. He dropped Stuart Binney. What we have seen is with the Indian team that they have been very, very stubborn with their team selection. MS Dhoni, Duncan Fletcher, they're not people who like to change a lot with the team. So I'm not sure if MS Dhoni would have gone with 3 spinners, dropped Stuart Binney. So he's not somebody who really drops players just after the one game. So refreshing to see that from Virat Kohli. Apart from that, R. Ashwin really looking dangerous, looking like taking wickets after a long period of time. So that was quite heartening to see as well. From Pakistan's point of view, I think they really showed that Indian batting is totally overly dependent on Virat Kohli, even more so now that they do not have MS Dhoni in the side at the moment. So it's just totally dependent on Virat Kohli at the moment. Rohit Sharma throwing away his wicket with a very, very needless shot. It just goes to show that he doesn't apply himself as much as he should. I mean, obviously, immensely talented batsman. Ajinkya Rahane, another batsman who's thrown away his wicket, but I think he's been the find of the season so far, so not too many complaints from him. But otherwise, 250 was never going to be enough against Pakistan. They needed more like 280 to, have really confident go, because Pakistan batting is liable to fail. They really have a lot of brain fades, all of them together, and that's what we saw. I mean, they first of all they sent up Umar Akmal, they sent up Misbah ul Haq. Why do you need to change your? They sent up Mohammad Hafiz. Mohammad Hafiz is very successful at number three, obviously, but why do you want to change your batting order in such a important game? That was something again unpredictable from Pakistan's point of view. But on a slowing pitch, Amit Mishra bowled very very well. The Indians, Ravindra Jadeja was bowling quick on a very slow pitch. That's why he was taken away for runs. Ashwin again found the slowness of the pitch to his liking. So impressive showing from the Indian spinners. Perhaps if we had somebody like a Yuvraj Singh, he would have made a difference because another bowling option. I think that's what India missed, and the runs that were taken off the seam bowlers, I think that was the major turning point. Apart from and that last over, I mean, Shahid Afridi with the spinner bowling, anything can happen, and it did. Two monster hits. The boundaries are in. Um, the boundaries for this Asia Cup have been in. I'm not too sure if they'll stay in for the World T20 because for the Under 19 World Cup they had really huge boundaries. So another pointer to be seen 2 weeks from now. But for the moment, shorter boundaries really played into Afridi's hands.
Time for a bit of a new feature in our hotspots, Chetan, called Ask the Team. We've got a question from Lokanath who asks, why isn't Robin Uthappa playing for India? Now, I know you've mentioned they're a bit over-reliant perhaps on Virat Kohli and MS Dhoni. He's not been around the team for a little while, has he? Is he in the sort of form that could make any difference?
I mean, he's been part of the Ranji winning team for Karnataka this year. So obviously he's done well. He's a wicket keeper. He's a batsman. He might come into contention now because Dinesh Karthik is. I mean, I'm not sure if Dinesh. This was a huge opportunity for Dinesh Karthik to impress as the second wicket keeper of choice. There's Vriddhiman Saha. There is obviously Robin Uthappa. I mean, India will now start looking for a second choice wicket keeper beyond Dinesh Karthik because he's not been impressive with the bat. In the last two matches, he fluffed the chance against Kumar Sangakkara, if I remember correctly. He fluffed the chance against Mohammad Hafiz in this match. So two big chances. They were huge turning points. When things start accumulating against you, so that sort of it just goes against you. About Robin Uthappa, he was not very consistent earlier. Had a couple of injuries which really put him out as well. So being inconsistent with the bat, couple of bad injuries really put him out of contention, and that's the reason why. With respect to the question asked, that's the reason why he's not in the side at the moment. But he's been, picked up in the IPL by KKR, if I remember correctly. So a few good performances, and who knows, he might be ahead, in the ODI or the T20 pecking ahead of Dinesh Karthik. Not for the World T20 or the Asia Cup at the moment, but we're talking about at a later stage. So who knows? Maybe for the World Cup next year, Indian selectors will be looking to shortlist some names because you would want to take two wicket keepers to Australia or Australia and New Zealand next year. So who knows? But for the moment, a little bit inconsistent, not too good with the injuries. So that's why Robin Uthappa has been on the backbone a bit.
That's right, and if you want to ask the team a question, do fill in the form below on the hotspot page, and we'll do our best to answer as we can. Chetan, I just want to. It's a common theme, really. I think in some respects, teams may be being a little bit over-reliant on players because you could make an argument that, however well Afghanistan played against Bangladesh, the loss for them of Tamim Iqbal through injury and Shakib Al Hassan through his suspension, whether you think he was rightly or wrongly suspended, really hurt them because it left them very, very exposed in that middle order, particularly with Mushfiqur Rahim not performing as well.
Well, obviously there are always teams, there is always a case for dependency on players. Like we brushed upon the fact that Indian batting is overtly dependent on Virat Kohli at the moment. But these are big players, especially for a team like Bangladesh. Tamim Iqbal is a very, very big player. Shakib Al Hasan, the best all-rounder in the world, apart from, a couple of notches above Ravindra Jadeja, I would say, at the moment, with the sort of role that Ravindra Jadeja is playing for India. So big losses, and if two big players are missing, I'm not talking about over dependency, but if two big players go missing for you, that is obviously going to dent your plans. These two guys might just be back for the World T20, and we'll get to see what sort of difference they might make to the Bangladesh fortunes in that particular tournament. But not sure about the over dependency part, but definitely, even two of your very big match winners, especially in the limited overs format, they go out. It obviously disrupts any team's plans, not just Bangladesh's.
Absolutely. I suppose, therefore, it comes down to strength in depth as well. Final question, really. Sri Lanka have confirmed their place in the final by beating Afghanistan today. Just how impressed have you been with the way they've been performing, and do you think now realistically it will be a Sri Lanka-Pakistan final, or can India somehow come back? And I suppose they need to rely on other results going their way too.
Absolutely, I think the points table is a little skewed in India's favor at the moment. Against India, not in India's favor. I mean, their run rate is also in the negative, and Pakistan are zero point 0.4 plus zero point 0.4. So 9 points ahead. I'm pretty sure they really need to, first of all, they need to rely on Bangladesh registering their first win in this Asia Cup. Bangladesh, beating Pakistan.
Yeah.
That is tomorrow, and then day after Afghanistan, India again at Dhaka. I mean, slower pitch. First of all, I think India. What India need to do is win the toss and chase, because that's what they do best. They want Virat Kohli to come out all guns blazing, Shikhar Dhawan, Rohit Sharma. They don't want to, set 270 and then try and bowl out Afghanistan for 120, 110. That's never gonna happen, because Indian bowling, we know for quite some time now, it's not really good, especially on the flat decks. But first of all, they need Bangladesh to beat Pakistan. If Pakistan wins, then it's already over. So they need Bangladesh to beat Pakistan, and then win the toss, bowl first, and chase whatever Afghanistan scores in 10 overs or 15 overs or 20 overs. I think it's tall order for India, but they themselves are to blame. They haven't really applied themselves in pressure situations, especially a couple of misses. Like I said, the bowling is still pretty weak, and over reliance on Virat Kohli. So India have by far not been the best side in the Asia Cup so far. I think Sri Lanka have been the best, and Sri Lanka-Pakistan will be a very deserved final in this tournament.
There we are. We'll probably catch up again maybe ahead of the final, Chetan, but from now, from me, thank you very much for your time today.
As always, a pleasure, John.
Great stuff, and don't forget, do subscribe to the Cricket World channel. We'll be doing plenty more hotspots over the coming months at Asia Cup, ICC World 2020, and of course the Indian Premier League. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.